We are going to need to rethink multilateralism in two fundamental ways going forward if multilateralism is going to be relevant. One is who sits at the table. We've got over 190 nation states in the world, but if you're going to have a meeting, say, on global health, there's no way you could have a valuable meeting without, say, the Gates Foundation sitting at the table, or some of the pharmaceutical companies, or some of the biotech companies. Or if you're going to have a meeting about how to structure and regulate the digital domain, how in the world could you do it without Google and Microsoft and Twitter and Facebook and Apple and the rest? So one thing that has to change is we have to accommodate non-state actors when they are relevant to any solution to a challenge. The other thing that really has to change in the future of multilateralism is we need to get a very different image in our mind. Most of the time when we think about multilateralism, we think of what I would call the UN General Assembly. 193 or whatever the latest number is, countries sitting there. It's a kind of universal approach. The problem is the universal approach is almost always worthless. The General Assembly has zero impact on the world. World trade talks, the last global round failed. The World Health Organization has disappointed in the case of COVID-19. We can't agree on what ought to be the rules of cyberspace. So the future of multilateralism is going to have to be much narrower. We are going to have, as we're seeing in trade, bilateral regional agreements. I can imagine the future of really effective movement on climate change will not be through Paris, but instead will be through maybe trade agreements or selective agreements with various countries that are like-minded and relevant. Just say you could get the countries that constitute 50 or 75% of the world's economy. That would be an important accomplishment if you could get them to agree on an approach to climate change. So I think the future of multilateralism is going to be much more designer approach, essentially bringing together those entities, state and others, that are willing to join, that are and are relevant to the challenge at hand. So we really need to rethink or reimagine our approach.